Precious. What I would ask is that our speakers come take a chair, a brown chair behind me. So if our speakers, we have Doreen Harris, President and CEO of NYSERDA. Pat Fahey, are you here?
Not yet, but you'll know when she is.
Okay. Congressman Tonko, I know you're here. Is Senator Breslin here yet? Okay. County Executive Dan McCoy, I saw you. Okay, good. And Wanda Willingham, Albany County Legislature. Okay. Well, if anybody sees these folks when they come in, please direct them to chairs. Darius, I think I saw you. Okay. Corey Ellis, are you up here? And then Ramel Johnson, Ron Gardner, Tim Rao. If any of you are here, come on up and grab a chair. He'll be back. Rosemary, would you be up for coming to take a chair? All right.
Solitary splendor. I'll go sit by the
I'm going to turn this over to you first. Okay. She's down here. If anyone feels motivated to move up onto the grass, please do. I know it's a little bumpy, but you're welcome to come closer if you would be comfortable doing so. And we still do have a few folding chair seats also for anyone who might need those. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got this far, don't blow it down.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the Interpretive Center of Underground Railroad Education Center groundbreaking. We really appreciate you all being here. This site is built upon the planning and collaboration of so many people, and I cannot begin to name them all, but it is also built on and because of the stories of African Americans who lived, worked, and prospered in eastern upstate New York in our region. Some of those people are Stephen Myers, Abram Johnson, John Johnson, Thomas Elkins, and many others, Harriet Myers, but most especially the story of Stephen and Harriet Myers. The Stephen and Harriet Myers Historic Site has been and continues to be a place where the story of these people is told and their lives are remembered. We wish that we could share with you all their stories, but make time to come to the Myers residence and we can do that. Today, I just want to recap the story of Stephen and Harriet. Stephen and Harriet dedicated their lives to the betterment of the world in which they lived. Their efforts at creating newspapers, organizing schools for black children and adults, organizing an economic development project that was about voting rights as well as economic empowerment, work on voting rights, and their services as providers of refuge and hospitality for the Underground Railroad makes them stand out in the early history of Albany. We owe this site to their story and the story of the people who work with them in their fight for justice and opportunity. Thank you all who have made this moment possible and for our time as we move forward with this project.
Carefully. Thank you. I'd like to follow Paul with a few additional remarks. To note that what started as a dream, a vision in 2008 is now a reality. The UREC's far-seeing 2008 board recognized that the historic Stephen and Harriet Myers residence would become too small to accommodate all the things we envisioned UREC doing. So that 2008 board promoted the idea of seeking out or buying or creating an additional space. Fast forward to 2022 when Assemblymember Pat Fahey arranged for a financial infusion that jump-started the stage that we are in now. Enter Sean Hamlin. Sean, where are you?
Straight ahead.
Ah, okay. Enter Sean Hamlin of Hamlin Design Group and Tim Rao of New World Barn Company, who I trust will be joining us soon, and a new journey began. Add the financial support from Senator Neil Breslin and the vote of the New York State Assembly, supported by Assemblymember Pat Fahey, for UREC to be the recipient of $2 million toward the construction of the Interpretive Center. And here we are today. Sean Hamlin's vision and bold creativity have resulted in the assembling of a team of professionals, some of whom are able to be with us today, who value the justice work we do here, and who understand that the Interpretive Center is not about Underground Railroad Education Center, but rather it is our gift to the community. It is at the Interpretive Center that community support groups and community education programs can have a home, that interactive exhibits bringing forward the voices and stories of Black Americans written out of the American narrative will have a home, that exhibits such as the Smithsonian's Voices and Votes, Democracy in America, will have a home and can empower us to keep working for equity and justice. That research and media production and children's programming will have a home. And it is through the Interpretive Center that climate mitigation will happen here. On that note, I would like to turn the microphone over to President Doreen Harris, President and CEO of NYSERDA.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Earth Day. What a great day to celebrate. So I have to start by saying, Mary Liz and Paul, congratulations, to say the least. Thank you for your advocacy and your vision to see this project through and make the Interpretive Center a reality. And I will not name all the dignitaries here, but I will say as a general matter, this is a labor of love that encompasses so many contributors in many ways that you'll hear from various speakers today. But I do have to say, for me, today reminds us that the journey towards social justice and environmental sustainability is interconnected. And that ultimately, we have to learn from the past. We have to apply those lessons as we transition to a clean energy economy here in New York State. And notably, I believe that this center is going to be a unique space that will honor the legacy of freedom seekers and their courageous, harrowing journeys to liberation. So it's unique. It's unique in its mission, its vision, and its purpose, and in its design. So let me talk a little bit about the design of this center. Certainly, I find it very inspiring as we think about clean energy integration into our communities. So for me, it's very exciting to see that this center is going to be built as a net zero energy building. It means no emissions will be released into the air. It'll utilize the latest energy efficiency technologies to operate comfortably, making this a safe, healthy environment for the children's center, the commercial kitchen, the indoor programs, exhibits, and apartment living. So you're going to hear a little bit about technology today: geothermal heating, ventilation and cooling, solar, technologies that ultimately are helping us move the needle here on Earth Day and every day across our state toward the achievement of our climate goals. So we at NYSERDA were thrilled to support this facility with a $1.1 million grant from our carbon neutral, thank you. So this is a carbon neutral community economic development program, and this is really focused on how do you plan, how do you execute, how you design these types of buildings so that they reduce carbon emissions and serve their communities at the same time. And so when I think about the Interpretive Center, it's an amazing example of what we can do to really scale up our buildings, the clean buildings of the future, from a building by building to a block by block to a city by city to our entire state. And not only toward the achievement of our goals, but fighting the damaging effects of climate change. So here on Earth Day, I'm pleased to say, on behalf of Governor Hochul, how committed we are to using this center and generally this model to bring our communities with us in this transition. So it's incredibly important work that I, as well as the team at NYSERDA, am thrilled to support. And I just want to congratulate everyone here today on a huge milestone who made today's groundbreaking possible. But also, I look forward to coming back with my big ribbon cutting scissors to tour this wonderful facility upon its completion. So congratulations and thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much, President Harris, for your wonderful remarks. Pat, did Pat show up yet? Have we seen Pat? Okay. Then I know she'll be here. So I'm going to ask Congressman Tonko if you would be kind enough to take the microphone.
Thank you, Mary Liz. Well, happy Earth Day, everyone. And to Paul and Mary Liz, thank you for your great leadership with the Underground Railroad effort here, and specifically the Education Center. Sean, thank you for your vision of extending this into the greater community and making certain that we're all educated about our history. It is great to come here today to share in two important areas that I work on in the Hill in Washington. That is energy and environment policy. And so to all my colleagues in government, it's great to be with you today. But to Doreen, thank you for carrying on the sustainability exercise. With this building, it'll be terrific to know that there's zero emissions and you're learning through this whole concept of a design while you're also sharing in the experience, the education experience of African American history, Black history to America. And certainly the other area of work that I do with energy and environment is the heritage and cultural tourism aspects of our national heritage areas. And so we thank everyone who's involved in that heritage area concept. I authored a bill last year that was signed into law by President Biden that extends that effort of heritage areas for 15 years, makes it more sustainable, and makes it all the more strong as a policy area with resources that will be able to assist communities in their storytelling. So, having been familiar with this wonderful Underground Railroad effort here at the Myers household, I've grown to really appreciate the efforts that Mary Liz and Paul and the entire group of supporters of this concept have engaged in. It's important for us to make certain that we alert people to all of the history that has been penned through the Underground Railroad. Now, there are those out there who say we need to tell our full story, our full history. I'm on that list. And this is what we're doing. We're sharing the full history of America. There are cynics and there are critics who might suggest we're rewriting history. No, we're telling the full history with this. And so with this center, we're all empowered by that, no matter which neighborhood we call home. And so we thank you for alerting us to that richness of history that was produced by many in our society who were enslaved. And we know that enslavement continues its downpull on many, many lives and communities through redlining, through disinvestment. So this is an important segment of heritage and cultural expression that enables us all to learn more about the fullness, the depth, the richness of our history, the battles, the journeys that were conducted in order for us to be a better people, a more perfect union. So congratulations to one and all. I can't wait to see this center develop and continuing to look for resources from Washington. You know that we were excluded in that last effort where we tried to assist with this center, but we'll find ways to invest in this project. So thank you one and all. Congratulations, happy Earth Day, and happy building going on with geothermal, as John will remind us is so powerful. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Congressman Tonko. Oh, let's see. John McDonald, Assembly Member. John McDonald, he has walked with us over the years. And
Just pull the microphone up close to your mouth.
Well, thank you, Mary Liz, and good afternoon, everybody. What a great turnout from the community, and it's a sign of the commitment and support that we have. I've been texting our friend Pat Fahey to find out where the heck she is, because I know that this morning when we were planning our day, she says, absolutely, I'll be there, absolutely, because the truth of the matter is, we both have been supporters of this great organization for a long period of time. I will tell you, when I first came to Albany in the Assembly, it wasn't as dramatic as the president leaving a note for the next successor, but Jack McEnany gave me a little bit of a rundown of organizations you don't forget in Albany that he cared about so much. And the Underground Railroad was definitely at the top of the list. So I made it my mission when I first started to represent Albany to really understand what the vision and the ideas were. It's interesting because I remember we were first concerned about who was going to have ownership of these properties, because we had a landlord that was kind of playing cat and mouse. And fortunately, we got through that with a little help from our friends. And over the years, we've been able to support the organization with little grants here and there. But last year, our speaker understands the importance, as the congressman said, about telling the true story. And Pat, with me behind her, we're there to support a $2 million initiative to help with all the other funding that is part of this. To Pat, to Mary Liz, and to Paul, thank you. Your commitment, your dedication is an inspiration to all of us. It's interesting, as you know, we just finished a $237 billion budget, which you'd think there's a lot of things to be excited about, and it is. But it's what satisfies you the most that makes a difference. Last year's commitment of $2 million is a great example of something that personally satisfies me, because I know it's being done for all the right reasons, to tell the true story, to make sure that our youth know exactly the path those before us traveled. Thank you very much. I'm still trying to find her.
And now we'd invite County Executive Dan McCoy to share a few words.
If you can hold the microphone close to
Thank you. No, I will. I just talked to her. She said she was 3 minutes. I figured John would carry on. But you know what, John? You let her down. All right? You let her down. So, oh, wait, there she is. Pat Fahey, our Sunday woman who is extraordinaire, passionate, a bit crazy.
This is like the ultimate.
I am going to be quick because it's really about the people to my left and right. Don't fall. Please don't fall.
Falling at your feet, Dan.
The hardest thing in government is when we pass rules and regs and we tell other people how to conduct business. And to see this center lead by example on Earth Day about going with solar panels or being off the grid, geothermal, is so interesting to me. And one of the things we did with the county is we redid the DPW buildings is 100% off the grid, 100%. And I say if government can do it, you can go to the private sector, you can do it. But it's also about education. And one thing I learned going through the public schools in Albany is when I learned the most is when I didn't know they were teaching me something. And I'm like, so when they were trying to teach me something, I was not paying attention. But it's the teachers that thought outside the box and did things extraordinary. And just like the center, to learn the good, the bad, and the ugly, not to forget. And we have a tendency to repeat history in this country because we always forget or we don't want to have them uncomfortable conversations. And this center should bring all them conversations together and groups together to sit there and to have them uncomfortable conversations, to see where we came from and how we can continue to build into the future. So my hat's off to you for everything you're doing on this. I'm going to stop because, again, I just want to thank Mayor Sheen and her team, Kathy Hogle, the governor and her team, NYSERDA, thank you, Madam President, just thank you for everything. And Assemblywoman Fahey, are you done with the buffet? Are you ready to come up? Is there something, you know, was it all you could eat?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. Now that her belly's full and she's ready to speak. Oh wait, you want to do that? I'm sorry. You probably want to introduce Assemblywoman. Yeah. Our extraordinary partner in the Assembly, soon to go to the Senate, Assemblywoman Pat Fahey.
Okay, I really want to blame my lateness on him because it just to give him more material to give me grief over. So somehow this was your fault, but I'm sorry. I was out at Thatcher Park. It's Earth Day, and we had the most amazing event out there. And then I made the mistake of going to the Capitol to gavel. And anyway, so yes, I guess this will get worse if I do get to the Senate. But thank you. I did not want to miss today. So glad you all took a little time speaking so that I could get here. Mary Liz and Paul know I love this place. I love it from the first time I ever visited. And there hasn't been enough change since the first time I visited with all the, who did we bring here the last time? We brought the Chancellor of the Board of Regents, and I said, Paul, bring him inside. We were here for the Interpretive Center for the $2 million we got in the budget last year, which was just such an amazing win. But we brought the Chancellor, and I said, and I kept pointing out to him, and see that ceiling there, and see that hole here, and I think Paul was like, Pat, just, knock it off. But I said, no, they need to see what a labor of love this has been. What a labor of love this has been, inch by inch by inch by inch. And everyone, yes, we are so thrilled to have gotten that money last year and another $150,000 this year because they always have a list. Paul and Mary Liz always have a list. But it is so important, and yes, I too, where is he? As Mr. McCoy just said, yes, the NAACP criticized us a little. No, I'm not confusing you that much. As the NAACP, as the ESPN commentator said, what's there to do in Albany? There is a lot to do in Albany. I love Albany, but there's no need to be defensive. Let's just keep building. Like, to me, it's like, well, that's why we want the canal. That's why we want 787. That's why we want that state museum to really live up to its name as a state museum. And that's why we want this interpretive center, because our history is such a beautiful one. It's a proud one. And it kills me to say something nice, but as our county executive just said, we need to I know. Erase this on the tape, but some of that is these hard conversations. We need to show our history, the good, the bad, the ugly, but it's still proud. It is still proud. And so I cannot say enough. It's one thing for us to help get the grants and yes, the NYSERDA and all the rest. Thank you to so many, but never underestimate what a small group of people can do. And I know the board, I don't know how many people are board members here, but in this case, never underestimate what one couple can do. And we may help get them the grants and help support them, but it is their true labor of love, and I'm just so proud that we could be here to help support it. And thanks to so many of the volunteers, the board members, and everyone else who backs up this amazing couple. And I see Sean. Hello, Sean. Sean, the architect who helped design all of this. So thank you to so many. So many of you should be up here, not out there. Thank you. Thanks for waiting for me. See? And that was pretty brief, right? Okay, who am I handing this to?
And following Assembly Member Pat Fahey, I would like to invite Darius Shahadfar, who is Albany City Treasurer, who will be representing Mayor Kathy Sheehan.
Thank you. And as the parking ticket and tax collector for the city of Albany, thank you very much for that round of applause. I don't get that very often. I'm not just the treasurer for the city of Albany. Mayor Sheehan couldn't be here today, again, as Mary Liz said. I'm happy to represent the city on her behalf, along with Council President Corey Ellis and the city auditor Dorcia Pleers. I'm not just the treasurer for the city, I'm also a board member of the Underground Railroad. And the Underground Railroad used to be known as History Project, Underground Railroad Education Center. And when I started on the board probably 9 or 10 years ago, I think, it's been that long, this was a massive 5-figure annual budget operation. For those who are counting, it's less than $100,000 per year. And it had been that way. We've increased operations over the last few years. And then a couple years back, Paul and Mary Liz came to us and said, we have this idea. We want to do an interpretive center. We're going to go buy an old barn, historically accurate barn, out from Mohawk, down the Mohawk Valley. We're going to build it here, buy it here, bring it here, and make an interpretive center around it. And we said, that's great. How much is it going to cost? And there's a lot more than what we had in the bank, and a lot more than we had available in grants, and a lot more than we thought we might be able to do. But with their dedication and commitment to telling the full story of history, and their dedication and commitment to making this project work, they went out and got a lot of the money that we need. Thank you, state government. Thank you, Pat, John. Thank you, Paul Tonko, federal government. We're well on the way now. So we're happy to be here today to do this groundbreaking, but just to be sure everyone knows there's more to come. There's more money to be raised. Anything you can do to help is greatly appreciated. But there's still a long road to go, but we're happy that we're going to be here getting this ball rolling, and we're going to have a wonderful interpretive center going forward, and we have more to come down the road. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. All the work you do.
Thanks, Darius. Let me see. Corey Ellis, who is Albany Common Council President, will share a few remarks.
Thank you. I'm going to come from the point of view of a son of Arbor Hill. When I first heard about the Harriet Myers home, and it was in Arbor Hill, as a kid growing up in Arbor Hill in the South End, finding out that we had something historic in our neighborhood meant the world to me. We had something that can uncover history, but also have people look at our neighborhood in a different light. And Mary Liz and Paul's dedication to make sure that happens is so immeasurable, especially for the people my age, kids my age, or adults my age, not kids, adults my age now. The pride that we feel when we see something like this happening. The board, the UREC board, making sure this happens. NYSERDA investing in this project. And the elected officials going beyond and continue to push. It means something to those who live here. It means something to those who grew up here. And so for me, it is a day of pride, and it also is a day where you begin to look at Arbor Hill not as a place of that is melting away, but a place that is growing. So that's what this URE Center is going to be for this community. It's going to be a destination where Arbor Hill begins to have a different tone when it is spoken about. Arbor Hill will become a place where people can feel they can come and get educated, be safe, and a community that can grow. So this project, your perseverance, your continuous, not to hear the word no, means a lot for a community like this. So I want to thank the board, I want to thank NYSERDA and all elected officials. And I know we have more money to raise, but this is the type of investment that this community can get around and really, really feel like they belong and they're a part of how we are moving forward in this city and in this country. So thank you so much.
I need to ask, is Ramel Johnson able to come? Or Ron Gardner? Okay, then we will forge ahead and ask Rosemary Nichols if she would be kind enough to share a few words. Rosemary has walked with us since our days of organizational incorporation. It was Rosemary who, as I recall, Paul and I knew nothing about filing federal 501c3 paperwork so we could become a nonprofit. So Paul reached out to Rosemary, and Rosemary has stayed with us ever since. So I will invite her to say a few words.
Thank you. It's my privilege. It's been my privilege to work with Mary Liz and Paul. I've known Paul since I came to New York in 1972. I was here on a 2-year contract with the University at Albany to develop a new program, and one of my first students was the gentleman sitting behind us. The two of us looked a little different in those days. And since then, it's been my pleasure to advise Mary Liz and Paul and the board on occasion for what they should be doing and what they could be doing, and hopefully to keep them out of trouble. So that's one of the things that lawyers are good for. And one of the pieces of this that I enjoyed the most was, over the years, as parcels on this site came available, Paul would give me a phone call and say, I've worked it out with the county, I've worked it out with the city, can we close on this property? And so we do what was required, and there was another piece of the site. And because these lots are very small, that was a fair amount of site assemblage, and it went on for a fair number of years. And it's a nice parcel. I mean, it doesn't look like it was assembled, sort of little heap by little heap by little heap, but that's the way it was. And so now I've been able to participate with Sean and with the other professionals, advising Mary Liz and Paul about how we go the next step, which is an amazing step to construct this fabulous property and make it something that will be of joy to Corey and all the other younger people who are coming up in this neighborhood. So it's a great privilege to do that. It's not always what lawyers get to do, but I feel very blessed.
Thank you, Rosemary. I'd now like to invite John Chivaco up to the microphone. John is one of the professionals from Aztec Geothermal that we've been working with over time to create this incredible building. And
Great. Hi there, John Chivaco with Aztec Geothermal. So we deal with dirt, and on Earth Day, that's what you do, I guess. So you see a pile of dirt, and I see a thermal battery. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over there, and we're going to put 10 500-foot boreholes down. So that's 1,000 feet of pipe. So 500 feet is like a 50-story building, if you were to look up, but down in the ground. And so that's going to pull thermal energy out of the ground to heat the building in the winter. And then we're going to, in air conditioning mode, we're going to pull the heat out, and we're going to put it into the ground, and then we're going to take that energy back in the winter. So that's a way to very efficiently use electricity to replace fossil fuels. And so it's really the core of what will make this a net zero building, along with renewable electricity. So I have to say, we've done hundreds of them. I mean, it's supposed to be a new technology. It's not really that new. We've done many hundreds of them. So it's not an experiment. This is something that we've done many, many times and in many different places in the area. But this is maybe the most meaningful project we've been involved in. It's been really great to work with Sean Hamlin from Hamlin Design, Kevin Schaefer from Schaefer Engineering, who's not here, but he's doing the internal mechanical design. We're just doing the ground loop. And then Mary Liz and Paul. Sorry.
all right.
I have to tell you, we did a $1 million project, just HVAC, for 2 people in a 17,000 square foot house. And after I did that, I said, we have to do something else. We can't be using our talents for something like that. We need to do something more meaningful. So it's really great to be here. I'm really glad to be a part of the project. All right. Let's get to throwing dirt around.
Kurt and Mary Moore-Wallinger, would either of you like to share some remarks? Okay. Now let's see if I get this right. Kurt is our civil engineer. It's been a learning. We have had so many learning curves through this whole experience. Honestly, it's been incredible. And Mary Moore-Wallinger, if I properly call you landscape architect. Oh, whoa, we're getting better. So, which one of you wants to go first? Please. Okay.
Thank you. As you can probably guess, this is a bit of a surprise. Apologies for the on-the-spot comments, but I just want to say this is one of those projects that you dream of being asked to participate in. It has been such an honor, and to work with Paul and Mary Liz and their team of people who are so dedicated. Every time I come to this place, I'm so happy and so impressed by everything that's being done here, and I feel like this kind of work is more important now than it ever has been potentially, although there's a lot to compete with, but it's it's at least as important as it has ever been important. And it's been an honor to really think about this site, the process, think about what the quality of life, the experience being in the building is. Sean's assembled an amazing team really thinking about how you can make this environmentally sustainable, and I think to the point that was made earlier that sustainability and equality are really like hand in hand, and it's really something we all need to work on together. And so thinking about how you tell the story through the landscape, what kind of landscape would people have encountered as they were traveling north? And I think about the Albany Pine Bush, which is sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think about the Albany Pine Bush, which is really distinct, unique to this area and this area alone. And so we tried to draw on using some plants and things from that area, because when you saw that, you would have seen it for the first time. And if you were traveling as part of the Underground Railroad, you would have recognized that you had reached a place, a very important place on your journey. So thinking about how we can extend what's being explored in the building into the landscape as well. And just so impressed with the lengths that have been gone to make the building as sustainable and community friendly as possible. So again, just thank you so much for including me in this effort, and just so excited and so impressed by the progress and the perseverance.
Thank you, Mary. My name is Kurt Bedore. I am the owner of KB Engineering. I'm the civil engineer on the project and a service-disabled veteran-owned business. I would first like to thank Sean Hamlin for the incredible opportunity of being a part of this project, and I feel so honored to be able to contribute in our small way to the team, the design team, and everybody else that's been involved, from the mentorship and leadership of the board to the public and the private sector supported it. Briefly, I won't spend too much time here. Civil engineering is being a very non-glamorous profession, in that it's I always quip that it's the things that we all need but take for granted, the things like water and sewer and accessibility, and well, for some people that's a very important thing. But our small contribution on this project as civil engineers, in the spirit of Earth Day today, is some of you may not know, but the city of Albany is predominantly on a combined sewer. That being your sanitary sewage and your stormwater come together, where they should, in modern design, be separate. Our small contribution on this project is that we're going to be segregating the stormwater and the sanitary to, in a very small way, lessen the load down at the county treatment plant. Stormwater on this property in this project will be going back into the ground, as it did 300 years ago before this was ever developed. And that will be in cahoots also with Mary's wonderful landscaping that will be functional as well as aesthetically pleasing. In addition, we'll be doing energy efficient downward directed LED lighting and accessibility. We will have 2 wonderful rain gardens on each side of the nice walkway that will be coming up through, and in the back there will be an underground gallery. Nobody's going to see it, but that's where the stormwater is going to go into the ground. So it's all of our little contributions here for green infrastructure and contributing towards the spirit of Earth Day. And again, thank you for the opportunity.
Shreya, where are you?
There she is.
Can you come up and share? Thank you. Shreya works with Bonnie Singh, and both of them are part of, let's see if I get this right, D2D Architecture and Planning? Okay. Okay, I'll let Shreya tell you more. Very exciting.
Thank you so much. So I'm Shreya, I'm from D2D Green Design, and we are the sustainable architects in this project. And let me tell you the story that we deal with a lot of clients, a lot of people who come to us for having their building certified and make it green. But we have never seen clients like Mary Liz and Paul who have been so enthusiastic, more enthusiastic than us. And they were proposing like so many ideas to us, like, you know, we can do this, we can do that. Usually in accessibility, we always think about wheelchairs, providing ramps, but they were so thoughtful in thinking about the people who need more accessibility than that, like braille signs, or even some audiovisual help that they need, that people need. And I would say these are the best set of clients we have ever worked with and probably ever gonna work with. And I'm really proud to tell that this will be the most greenest building that Albany would have. And this would be a living building certification, which is one of the first in this whole region. And we are one of the first people who would be doing this. So thank you so much, Mary Liz and Paul, and thank you so much, Sean, and everyone in the team, Mary Moore, Kurt, everyone in the team who have been so helpful and so working together as a team, like solving all the challenges that we have been facing. And let me tell you, it's a difficult task. And thank you so much for everyone who has been involved in this. Thank you.
Now, have I left anyone out? I don't want to do that. Okay. What I'd like to ask is if all of you can still hang tight here, and while we're getting organized for our official groundbreaking with this dirt behind us, Paul will be distributing shovels and hard hats to all of our speakers. And I have a few notes that I'd like to share with you while that is being done. First, I would like to say thank you to all who have walked with UREC over the years, including those of you who are with us today. I'd like to say thank you to the funders and the donors who are listed on the final panel of our 100-foot banner that was designed by Ruth Gallagher, who works with Sean Hamlin, and Sean, who supported the production of this banner. These are individuals and funders who have donated specifically to the Interpretive Center. I'd like to thank the UREC staff, Marcus Anderson, if you raise your hand so people can see you, Marcus Anderson, Colleen Dorr, I think she might have had to leave already, Amelia Paul, Lacey Wilson, Wazik Perry, Franz Gopalsing, who could not be with us today, and Ove Vallis, all of whom are assets to the work of UREC. I'd also like to say thank you to the development team organized by Hamlin Design Group that is bringing the Interpretive Center to life. And I want to say thank you to Jeff Morrell. Jeff, where are you? Jeff, oh, Jeff's over here, of Rosenblum Companies, and John Chiavaco of Aztec Geothermal for their loaning of the shovels and the hard hats that we will be using today. When we have completed our groundbreaking ceremony, I would invite you to stop into the Myers residence. We do have some refreshments in there on the first floor. We have a video that was created by Ruth Gallagher, who works with Sean Hamlin, and it focuses in on the elements of the Interpretive Center. We also have our three-dimensional model of the Interpretive Center that's upstairs on the second floor. And the other thing I'd like to ask you to do before you leave today is find someone you don't know. Every time Underground Railroad Education Center has an event of any kind, we always invite people to find someone you don't know, introduce yourself, so that we can continue to expand the circle of all of us working for equity and justice. Now, I'm going to move out of the way.
Yes, we have to move a little bit so those that are sitting, they can see. Yes.
And we're going to do our official groundbreaking.
One spot right there.
Move to your left a little bit, please. So those are sitting down, you can see, please. No, you're good. They're going to be able to see. Okay.
Well, I was thinking about this one.
You want to hold on to this?
Yeah, I know you're going to need a couple of hands.
Everyone will know.
Photographers, you want to get to your knees so those behind you can see. Photographers, please get to your knees so those behind you can see that's sitting down in the chairs. Our seniors.
Okay, we'll all stand sideways.
It's nice to be able to move Earth on Earth Day.
Everybody right here.
Don't throw too
320 to Earth Day, right here.
Who's doing the counts?
3, 2, 1.
Okay, now the real thing. That was just rehearsal.
All right, one more for good measure. All right, who's counting?
3, 2, 1.